Today's episode of The Rock Fight was made possible by support from Global Sales Guys. Global Sales Guys isn't your normal sales agency. With offices across the U.S. and Europe and partnerships with retailers on 4 continents, GSG is your one-stop shop for brands looking to grow their presence in outdoor specialty shops worldwide. Brands like Van Deer, Red Bull, Nikki, Picture Organic, Kip Run Decathlon, Deluxe, Fubuki, and Gore-Tex all know that Global Sales Guys provide an innovative and full-service approach to delivering their brand's sales and marketing needs. Is your brand looking to break into the U.S. outdoor market? Is your retail shop looking for what's next? Then you need to be working with Global Sales Guys. And if you want to know what's next when it comes to outdoor running and action sports, specialty retail, Global Sales Guys is what's next. See for yourself what's next and get in touch with Global Sales Guys by heading to globalsalesguys.com today. Hey, Rock Fighters, 2026 has arrived, and Lem Shoes is bringing in the new year with new products that will keep your feet happy, no matter what the occasion. Hey, you want to get out for a hike? Check out the Trail Thrasher or the Trailblazer Mid. Are you looking for function and fashion? The Summit Boot Pro will work hard to make you look good while keeping your feet comfy during the winter months. And at the end of the day, stay comfy with Lem's brand new Zen Clog. And attention outdoor and footwear retailers, Lem's recently expanded their wholesale sales team. Do you want to meet your new local rep? Well, send an email to Colo, that's C-O-L-O, at lemshoes.com. Just make sure you tell them that the Rock Fight sent you. Lems, where less equals more. Fjallraven isn't here to conquer mountains, tame rivers, or beat the weather. We are here to go slowly, to tread carefully, and to cherish the visit. For us, the outdoor experience has never been a race to victory. It's an ongoing journey to create equipment and memories that last for generations to come. Our mission is to inspire more people to move with nature, and we do this by developing durable and functional equipment that never goes out of fashion. What we really want is to make it easier for people to enjoy spending time in nature on nature's terms. This is our passion, so let's use this vast experience and competence to help more people feel at home in nature, because when they do, they will take greater care of it. Get started on your Fjallraven journey by heading to fjallraven.com today.
Rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight.
Welcome to the Rock Fight, where we speak our truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin True, and joining me today, they vowed not to podcast at Telluride Mountain Resort until those ski patrollers are paid a fair wage. It's Owen Comerford and producer Dave.
Yes, solidarity,
right.
brothers.
Podcast patrollers. That's what we're going to call you guys.
And sisters.
Well, today we will be talking
That's
about
right.
that briefly in the lightning round, but we're also going to talk about some other recent headlines that come out of the outdoor industry. But first, hey everyone, our inbox is open. We want to hear from you. myrockfight@gmail.com is where you can reach out. And beyond that, do you have a comment for the consigliere, Owen Comerford? Email us, or you can find the outdoor industry expert, Owen Comerford, on LinkedIn, where you post multiple times a week, right, Owen? A couple times a week, pretty much?
I go in fits and spurts, I must admit. It's one of those things where it takes time. I mean, like, I don't just put some half-baked bullshit out there. I actually do some
AI
research.
slop?
No AI slop here.
No AI slop.
Nice.
No,
Good
like,
for you.
I think trail running's having a moment, guys.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
shocking.
cool. Yes.
Lastly,
Great question, Colin.
Lastly, don't miss the next episode of Gear Abbey, where Shante Salabert, who also appears here often on the Rock Fight, answers all of your burning outdoor questions. You can find Gear Abbey on your favorite podcast app. And first thing we're going to do this week, guys, is our survey results. Last week, we went through Owen's 10 predictions for the outdoor industry in 2026, and subscribers to News from the Front, Rock Fight's official newsletter, received a survey asking if you agree or disagree with Owen's predictions. And man, did you guys, you listeners, did you respond? We got a huge response from what we're going to share with you in a second. But I think we're going to run it back, though. I think we're going to send out another one next week, another survey, another question next week. I think this might become a regular thing, because that was a good response. What do you think? Should we run it back? Should we ask something else next
Is this
week?
a survey about surveys? Are you inclined to take a survey?
That's actually,
Yes or no?
that's pretty. Or we could just
True
go
or
back to the
false?
F, Marry, Kill, too. That one did pretty well.
We can.
Today.
That did go well.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I think a survey about surveys
I
is
like
really
a good
important.
survey. Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
missed out on this week's survey and you don't want to miss out next week, head to rockfight.co. Click join the mailing list. Click join the mailing list. All right, so here's the results, guys. So just going to run through them real quick. So number one, Alan's predictions, outdoor brands get off to a slow start in 2026. 100% of listeners agreed with you.
Jesus.
Oh,
boy.
listen to that
I was
positive
hoping there would be
vibe
some
churn.
I was hoping people would go, no, and you're just talking to all of the people that are having a hard time. The rest of us, it's going to be great. So, good, okay, cool.
The we're fucked tribe is in full effect.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
Number
Okay.
two, tariffs see a rollback. 62% agreed, 37% agreed. Disagreed.
Does that
excuse
count
me.
as optimistic?
Not
That's
as
kind of-
optimistic. Some people
Okay.
were
Kind
like,
of.
they wrote in some comments, there might happen, but there could be some caveats. We'll see.
What's the one comment that stands out amongst the tariff discussion?
Here's I think the best comment, which is probably accurate. Even if tariffs get rolled back, it will be months, if not years, before brands and retailers see the money, which is probably accurate.
Yeah,
This will linger even if
depressingly-
it gets better. Number
Okay.
three, gear as a service subscription model is launched. Only 37% agreed. 55.2% disagreed. We had a couple of comments. Already exists in a limited way. No one wants another monthly fee unless they're getting something much more. They probably will, but this has never worked despite people saying they like the idea.
What if we call it a streaming service? Would that?
Or are we
Gear
Netflix or are
streaming
we
service.
Peacock?
That's right.
That's right. Okay. It's a gear streaming service. I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
PFAS rainwear grain market emerges was the number 4 prediction. 31% agree, 51.7% disagree.
Yeah, but
this
this is in industry wonks. I'm talking to the real people out there.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think, but the one comment that I liked was, if so, it will be tiny. I don't think very many of us really know what we're talking about.
Touche.
That's fair. That is totally fair.
Yep.
Present company included.
Oh, 100%. We have never professed to be anything other than just curious.
That's right.
Podcast. Number 5, Dick's Sporting Goods announces the closure of over 10% of Foot Locker locations. This is another one, 100% agree.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now there was one comment that I want to address. Someone wrote, Foot Locker still exists? Why? And I want to address it because I don't know who wrote that or what their role is in the industry. That's a little concerning. We're talking about.
We're just being facetious.
Okay, all right.
I get their point, though. I mean, it's it has been on a bit of a meander the last decade.
1,000-store meander. Yep.
Colin, they don't carry European approach shoes, so how can they be serious as a footwear distributor?
What makes an approach shoe European, Dave?
It would be bright colors, a narrow last, and a disdain of Americans.
And a crazy sizing system with like 40s.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
all that
right.
crap. Yeah.
All right, number
There you
6. REI makes major changes to its membership dividend. This was pretty split, relatively speaking. 55% agree, 44% disagree. Someone wrote in, I thought they already did that. Then another one I liked was REI does not have a dividend. They have a loyalty program. They should go back to a dividend based on profit, which they probably will not.
Well, they would have to be profitable before that. So there might be a minute. But that's a very good point. I mean, I've said this for a long time. This whole dividend thing, it's only a loyalty program, which was proved by the fact that when they couldn't pay a dividend because they were losing money, they still gave the 10% back, so to speak. So it's a loyalty program.
It also goes with the fact that we knew that there would be immediate backlash to anything that happens to this, no matter what it is.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Number 7, Hoka's growth flattens out. 75% agree. So, but this had the best comment of the survey. Someone wrote in, even Rome fell.
Oh, ouch. Okay.
Number 8, used gear makes it onto the main product page. Split in the other direction. 41% agree, 55% disagree.
I think this is a bit of a long shot. They can't all be, layups here.
And then number 9, we reach peak trail running culture. Again, another kind of split. 55% agree, 44% disagree.
Okay.
I like the one comment, 4 letters, NIKE. The swoosh is just getting into the game and bringing their checkbook. They may be delaying the inevitable. However, they will command attention for the category. And when the tide rises, so do all the boats in the harbor.
Okay.
I think Dave
All
wrote
right.
that in as someone who bought ACG in
I
our,
did not,
in our stock
but I
market.
certainly see the logic in that for sure.
And last one, AI becomes your outdoor gear buddy. 58% agree, 34% disagree. The best comment, this was my second favorite comment of the survey. Someone wrote, it will be awful, and I will hate it. I will hate it even if it's not awful. Which I think sums up how people feel about
That's
AI.
right.
In general,
Right.
exactly, yes.
Right.
Mhm.
And it has a theme song. So
We had a bunch of responses that are written in. Maybe I'll include some more of those in the newsletter for next week. But the one that I thought warranted mentioning, someone wrote in, we'll see more, in terms of listener predictions, we'll see more specialty outdoor stores close. I've already had one email in my inbox for the new year announcing a closure coming in March. They didn't say who that was, but that's interesting. We'll see if that verifies or not.
I hope they're wrong, but they could very well be right.
All right. So for our first topic today, I have a quick quiz for you guys.
okay.
If I set the over-under at 225 for the amount of doors that Fleet Feet, the running retailer, how many, 225, there's the over-under. Would you take the over or the under for Fleet Feet and the amount of doors they have?
I kind of knew the answer to this question, so I was over.
You were over.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Well, now-
I was gonna say based on the number of Fleet Feet badges you see roaming around TRE, I would have to say that is way over.
Yeah.
It just for that many badges of buyers running around, I think that it really alludes to a massive footprint. But I do have a question for you guys. Well,
Well, do you want me to tell you the answer?
yes.
So it's more.
But then I have a
right.
question for
yeah,
you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But it is the over. They have more than 300 doors. They have 284 Fleet Feet doors. They have 28 Marathon doors. So Fleet Feet is
I would have
booming.
said-
They have a lot of locations. What's your
I would have
question?
said thousands.
Yeah,
I would have
okay.
said thousands based on the number of badges that I see.
What's your question?
No, but my question is really, really relevant to this. Is what do you call a group of Fleet Feet buyers? Like, what would that be? I think
It's like a gaggle or a
Veneri
murder
or-
of crows
It's like
or something like that.
a Fraggle.
like is it a Fraggle, a lead, maybe a lead
Fraggle.
of buyers, a pace, right? I
Yeah.
also came up with a heel. That's also interesting, but.
So when you're going through the trade
these,
show,
these are the big questions that keep Dave up at night.
That's right. That's right. When you see a group of buyers all with the same badges, is it a scrum? I mean, that's interesting.
Scrum's pretty good. Should be something
right?
running related though, shouldn't it? Like
right.
Yeah.
Sure.
the eyelets. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I bring up Fleet Feet is because last week in an interview with Footwear News, a Fleet Feet CEO, Joey Pointer, detailed the running retailer's plans for 2026, which include expanding Fleet Feet by at least 16 stores and Marathon by another possible 20 doors. So I was just kind of thinking about this. I mean, Owen, given the running boom and the rise of trail running, and like we were saying, we're seeing these guys all over the floor at the running event, big show. Is Fleet Feet now the most consequential outdoor or active retailer we have?
No.
Oh.
Not really.
All right.
And we're done.
Hey, move on to the next thing.
No, because
Do
typically
they have a loyalty program?
they do actually, but typically these are smaller stores, right? So they're doing, I don't know, maybe a few million per door, and at under 300 doors, they're likely well under $1 billion in sales, and that
Okay.
pales in comparison to an REI at close to $4 billion. The combined Dick's, Foot Locker, Mega, whatever thing that's over 20 billion. So yeah, I mean it's a meaningful chunk of change. I wouldn't poo-poo it at all, but it's by no means the most meaningful. And also, I don't know that they're really consequential for outdoor almost at all, quite frankly, because they are truly run specialty, and they're definitely consequential in run specialty. They're really a big player, but you know they're really specialty to run specialty. I mean, I would say even maybe I don't know how much trail running they actually do. I mean, they are more about road running in general.
They are. I mean, it depends on the location, I'm sure, and what's around that
Sure.
location.
Oh, sure.
But they're a bit of an odd duck, though, right? Because I imagine there are probably specialty run dealers who like loathe Fleet Feet, right? And that are also like kind of. I understand your point about the revenue, and I'm sure some of that is footprint and square footage and stuff like that versus the size of what they can actually sell versus some of these other stores, but. You could probably have a more diverse assortment. I want to ask about assortment in a second, but It's kind of I don't know. Those numbers kind of surprised me. And Dave, it's funny you said you thought they might be thousands because like I just was like I didn't think they'd had 300 doors. I mean that's a lot. And it seems like every year there's another announcement of all right they took over this other iconic running retailer in this city.
Right.
And they're just sort of on this kind of crazy trajectory. I mean, Dave, any thoughts on the brand before we get on to the next thing?
No, I thought Owen's point about being more run than even trail run is interesting. I do think that as our infrastructure crumbles and streets and sidewalks become in disrepair, we're going to have more trail running going on in our cities. So maybe they'll be like perfectly situated for that. But
I mean, do you think that their assortment? Okay, so they're obviously focused running focused, like we've been saying, but their assortment could expand as well as the brand expands, right? I mean, what should an outdoor footwear strategy be for Fleet Feet? So if you're Merrill, if you're somebody who's like more like, hey, running, not running focused, but you can cross over into that world, I think you'd be a little short-sighted to not have at least a strategy for Fleet Feet, right? And kind of like look at this growth and be like, how can we get some of that?
If you're into trail running, then you should absolutely be talking to Fleet Feet. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't do trail running. I'm just saying it's not their major focus right now. Could it become more of a focus as we're predicting trail running really has a moment on an even bigger stage? Absolutely. I mean, most trail running brands actually that I've talked to in terms of the split between run specialty and outdoor specialty, it's sort of like 60-40 outdoor versus run, but run specialty is still a big piece of the pie for trail running. It's just not the overall focus for Fleet Feet today.
Could they be seen as a threat, though, to outdoor specialty? I mean, they're kind of like a couple tents and some sleeping bags away from kind of, and 300 doors. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like it's growing in that. Not that they maybe wouldn't want that, but it just sort of.
No, I mean, the reality is, I mean, for most of these stores, given their size, they actually don't even have a great apparel section for runners, let alone for people in the outdoors, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very, very footwear focused. So they're not going to start adding tents. I mean, they would add more running apparel before they added tents and backpacks and stuff.
Right. Or even just some more like lifestyle apparel or winter apparel or something like that, right? Yeah.
Right. Run lifestyle, whatever that looks like. Yeah.
Dave, anything else to add?
No, I'm just looking at, they've got at least 100 different trail running styles
on their website.
Sure. Yeah. Again, I don't know how many running styles. It could be just
8,000.
Right, but they've got all the brands, all the ones that you'd expect, maybe a couple that you don't expect.
Do they have the new Keen trail running style?
I don't see the new Keen yet, but they have Mount to Coast.
Sure.
Which I didn't expect necessarily. The Ons, the Hokas, the Ultras for sure. They did not forget Solomon, which I think is worthy of note. Where we might have.
Well, they're professionals. In fairness.
That's right. They have some Speedland. They have Merrill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So now you're getting into some high-end kind of North
Come back
Face
next week where Dave will read the brands on another outdoor website.
That's right. That's right. And just to our last segment, there is a Nike Ultrafly Trail Runner. So look out, world.
So the interesting thing is, if you look at their on their website, they've got top brands versus trending brands, and top brands are a lot of the ones you would expect in running, right? Including Lululemon, Mizuno, etc. The trending brands, though, is it TYR or Tier? How do we pronounce that?
I've always said Tier. I thought it was Tier.
I thought it was TYR because it's all caps, but whatever. Then there is FKT Gear sunglasses. Birkenstock is a trending brand for them. Interesting. Chicken Legs, which yes, okay.
Go Chicken Legs.
Sprints, Adidas, which they just inked a new deal with, right? To promote that brand.
Yes.
Solomon, Cotopaxi, to your point, actually, Colin, is a trending brand. Bakeline and Thule. So, yeah, I mean, maybe it's a little bit wider than I'm giving them credit for. Okay, fair.
Well, that's what I mean. They're kind of creeping up, right? And I didn't expect that number to be that high. I knew they had a big presence. And, we talk about a lot of, the specialty business and its challenges, and I don't know, just something probably worth keeping an eye on what's going on over at Fleet Feet and how it impacts everything else going on in our world. Well, moving on to our next story. So according to CISO, last week, Helen of Troy's year-over-year sales for Q3 declined by 6.7%, driven mostly by Hydro Flask's continually softening business. We've talked several times in the past month or so here on the pod about the bottle category being massively overserved. I mean, both you and Owen and Dave, you guys mentioned that what you saw when you did your field trip to your local Sierra and the basically, giant Walmart-size aisle that was nothing but
It was
water
huge.
bottles.
Yes.
Right. Overserved. I like what you did there. That was good.
Oh yeah, and if you go into a lot of different stores, I mean, like grocery, just home goods, whatever, you're going to find a huge assortment of insulated bottles. I think I was in Michael's at Christmas and they had water bottles for sale. So I'm curious for both of you, is this the end of a category, right? If I'm an outdoor retailer, like I definitely would carry performance hydration accessories from a brand like Hydro Pack, right? Whether that was came in the product, other products I carried, or I carried their own stuff separately. I would carry Nalgene because that is something that has a very specific use and reputation in the industry. I would then probably carry or pick a high margin insulated lifestyle option. But at this point, do I even care what brand that's from? I mean, does that track with you guys? Is that on the right path? Does it matter anymore?
I think it matters. It's a key category for outdoor just because it's a great volume player. It's a great add-on sale. Mostly it's in sort of that $30 price point, which is a good one for just somebody coming in. And we talk all the time about the lifestyle aspect of outdoor stores. Well, I mean, hydration is a lifestyle thing, right? It isn't really an activity thing anymore, right? Everyone's walking around with their Stanley quencher or whatever attached surgically to their hand, apparently. So I think it absolutely remains a key category. In terms of what they would stock, I think at least, to your point, at least one brand, maybe two. Do I care what the brand is? I care that it's a brand that isn't that isn't selling below full price, right? A brand that has brand equity and that is willing to support specialty retail. That's what I care about. So, like right now, I mean, YETI to a degree, right? Still very much a full price brand, but also not that friendly to specialty retail if you're not willing to carry their full line, apparently.
Right.
But there are other brands
they're
out
punting
there,
specialty retailers, apparently.
right? And very widely distributed too. I mean, you can find YETI at your local Ace Hardware store. So, but Stanley, the bloom was off that rose. Hydro Flask we talked about here, yeah. But there's always a new one coming up. Whether it's Owala or Circle or whatever the latest and greatest new hydration brand is.
Well, we've talked about some of those in the past, and that's what I mean. There was like a decade and a half run where there was this like 18-month cadence to the next hydration brand, and that's what I mean. Is that seems like it's just run its course out. Like if I had a no name, like it could sell for $10, but it cost me $2 kind of bottle that was just insulated. Does that fill the need? I mean, I agree with you that obviously a brand. There's certain people who are going to be looking for that, but I don't know if everyone even cares anymore. Dave, what do you think? Is the brand game over for bottles?
I wouldn't conflate end of a category with the maturation of a category. I mean, you're right. For a while, we only had a couple players, and so there was room for more bigger players to settle the pillars, if you will, and that's kind of what we have now. But I think the idea, though, that someone is always going to constantly come up, and maybe that timeline is a little bit longer, is totally it's still a trend-driven accessory. And so once it's moved from hydration just being a functional need to a fashion accessory based on color and season, that's just going to create a churn that I just will again, it'll always have a restock seasonal aspect to it. So I think that gives you some kind of some long lasting. And also going into your YETI, like I think they're confusing prima donna for premium, right? I really do. I think the idea of cutting specialty while keeping like hardware is a weird way to go about it because they won't carry their full line. And I think this, will it impact their march to dominate the MAGA cooler market? Probably not, but will it serve them when they genuinely do plateau from a trend perspective and demand softens? I feel like you're just giving a certain percent of your distribution market and one that will become more coveted as you mature, a reason to root against you and a reason to give these upstarts a chance. Right. And thus the disruptor cycle continues. It's like an unforced error that will play out over time that has a bigger impact than maybe right now.
So Dave, if you had to guess, which category at YETI would you say is bigger? Coolers or drinkware?
drinkware.
100%. Exactly.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
right.
people think of Yeti as a cooler company. Not so much.
No.
But and the drinkware has been actually quite resilient in terms of volume. Part of it just being finding more and more points of distribution. But that's why they went after Mystery Ranch and all the rest of it. They need that next category for them to splash the Yeti brand on and drive some volume.
Yeah, right. And that's why I think but cutting out specialty as the play, it does to me just doesn't make sense. To me, I would be reinforcing that while trying to also expand that top side of the market. I mean, that's the beauty of their brand is they found a nice balance between outdoor, right? I mean, in a sense that they have a more of a mainstream outdoor recreation, hunt, fish side of their brand that also then, is just as plays just as well in outdoor specialty. I think by cutting out specialty, you hurt yourself.
And, we just heard that from a couple of specialty retailers that that's what happened to them. So I don't know if that's a widespread,
fair enough,
thing or not, but it's certainly something we've heard a couple of times from some specialty players.
So Yeti aside, I want to go back to something you said, Dave, because you're right. Okay, too hyperbolic by me to say at the end of a category, but the maturation of a category. And I think there's a correlation here between what we're seeing with insulated bottles specifically and nutrition, right? There was a time when if you wanted your goo or whatever it was, you had to go to a run shop, a bike shop, or an outdoor shop. And now if you go into your local, Kroger-owned grocery store chain, you're going to find an aisle of that kind of stuff.
It's at the checkout aisle of home goods. And
I think this is what I mean. Like, I guess if you're a specialty retailer, I don't think there's another brand coming on the insulation side. Like the market is served. Whether it's Yeti, you can have a Yeti, you can have these things.
No,
but
don't
what
bury
more
your
can
head, Colin. No, that's the point of the word disrupt. It's like you can't necessarily call where it's coming from. It's gonna come, but you just don't know where it's going to come from.
I'm not going to disagree with you because you're right. History has taught us that. But it's just like right now, if what do you want to stock? Like, you could have a Yeti agree. Or you could have like brand X that Yeti's available. I don't know if anyone's going to care. Is my point.
Well, people care.
Some
people
Kardashian
care.
will be seen carrying it on an Instagram post and boom, it goes
We're going to carry water in the palm of my hand. Like that's the greenest way to transport your water.
Right. It's handmade water, Colin.
Yes.
It's really, it's the best.
People absolutely care because I mean, why would you pay? I mean, whatever it is, $30 for a Yeti that costs $5 to make. I mean that's the net of it. There's a lot of brand equity there.
Because it's a 4-wheel drive water vessel. That's why.
That's right. Exactly.
All right, are you guys ready for the lightning round?
Well, yes.
Yeah, I thought that was a lightning round. Thank goodness, because that was taking forever.
Water bottles are interesting.
They are just from a wanting to kick them around kind of thing. But that's
Fight! Lightning round.
All right. First up in the lightning round. As we alluded to earlier, as of this recording, the ski patrol strike in Telluride is still happening. This is the second strike in as many winters. Listeners will recall last winter's patrollers in Park City also struck. The big difference between the two is while Park City is owned by Vail Resorts, Telluride is owned by a guy named Chuck Horning. So, and it seems that the crumbling resort world isn't all due to a bigger corporation like Vail. But between climate change and unpredictable weather, along with all these labor issues, do you have hope for the snow sports industry?
Yeah, I mean, as long as there are rich people, there will be a snow sports industry, or people who want to look like they're rich people. I mean, that's kind of the...
or look like they are in a snow sports industry.
Well, right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, obviously the industry's got some structural issues, whether it's I put a lot of it on the whole season pass issue, which... it really does underpin the whole industry now, and it's the way the industry has avoided the weather stuff because basically they don't care. Well, they do because they still obviously want people to show up so that they will pay the hotel stuff and buy the overpriced food and drink, but they're getting a lot of their revenue up front regardless of what happens with the weather. So that's why they love this thing. But I really do think it creates this tragedy of the commons issue around availability on these slopes, overcrowding, bad experience. So I that to me is what's sort of pulling away at the industry. And then in terms of Telluride, even though they're not part of Vail, they're actually part of Vail's Epic Pass. So they are kind of part of it to a degree. And, you know, I think the reason why we're seeing a strike at Telluride is because those guys saw what happened to the highly publicized strike at Vail the prior year. So, I mean, I think Vail definitely impacted what's happening at Telluride right now. But no, I think the industry is not in a great place, but it's not going anywhere.
Well, look, I think an upper class business model, which is what they seem to be retreating to, is definitely going to be resilient against both climate change and price, right? And so they don't seem to feel the need to make alterations, but it doesn't solve the affordability and wage issue that will be the pinch point. That you talk about overcrowding. Well, that's a big part of overcrowding, is not having the staff able to move people through. It's like, you know, I kind of thought it's amazing the kind of impact that one demotivated lifty can have on the enjoyment of upper class families from across Cleveland, right? I mean, it's just like, man, and if we don't solve that side, that will impact the upper class business model, if you will. And so it's I think it's as big a challenge to that industry as climate change, frankly.
For sure. All right. Well, like I said, good luck to the folks in Telluride. We are on your side here. Next up in the lightning round.
To hell you ride.
Telluride. According to the inertia, Nepalese authorities are requiring Mount Everest climbers to put down a $4,000 deposit that they won't get back unless they take 18 pounds of garbage off of the mountain during their climb. The only issue is the average Everest climber produces 26 pounds of garbage when they are on the mountain. So if you simply clean up after yourself, you're going to get your deposit back and the mountain stays dirty. Dave, do you have any recommendations for how to clean up the massive trash pile that Mount Everest has become?
I do. Prayer flags, Colin. Biodegradable prayer flags, I think. That's made it? From castor beans, right?
How does that clean up what's already there?
That will solve the issue right there. Look, if I've learned anything from
thoughts and prayers,
thoughts and prayers. If I learned anything from rewatching Breaking Bad over the pandemic, like multiple times, I learned that castor beans can solve all of our problems. They can make deadly ricin. They can make, what is it? Midsoles and outsoles and membranes. I think that's the answer. But.
Producer Dave, secretly Heisenberg?
Right, there we go. My other thought was building a scale model of Everest and call it Everest 2 and maybe put that in the new state of Venezuela and create a whole tourist destination. And, my guess is that half the people who sign up would actually not even be able to tell the difference between Venezuela and Tibet.
Just build it out of raw petroleum,
I think we could. I think there's something there. And if that doesn't work, good old regulation and visitor restrictions and state-sponsored punishment could possibly be the way around that. But I think it's going to take... Look, I think they're focused on it now, though, and that is a weird... like you said, you're not even pulling out what you brought in. The focus on it, they will get more extreme in their efforts to police it, I think. And that's what I think you'll start to see.
Dave, they said you couldn't take a dark topic and make it darker, but you did it. Good job.
I did. Thank you. Well, I was also envisioning those big sky crane helicopters, too. That's also something that's... I think an answer.
Sorry, Owen, I cut you off. What were you saying?
I think the only problem with the $4,000 deposit is that there isn't an extra zero because, these folks are paying. Just for their permit to climb is what $30,000-$40,000, right?
More in some cases,
right? Depending on whether you go which side you climb from. But then you're paying for all the guide service and everything. It's a very, very expensive thing. So my concern is just $4,000. Like, let's just write that in. It's another line item on the page, and
good
still,
PR.
It doesn't change. It doesn't change the actual.
It's like that clear coat on the new car.
That's right. All right, lastly for the lightning round, RIP to Cannondale co-founder Joe Montgomery, who passed away earlier this month at age 86. Montgomery and two others started Cannondale in 1971 as a camping supply and air conditioner company. Good combo there. Before pivoting to bicycles in 1983. Oh, and reading about Cannondale made me wonder why the division between outdoor and bike. Pretty much all outdoor enthusiasts own at least one bike. What needs to happen for bike to be more integrated into the outdoor industry, the industry that we cover here on the Rock Fight?
the outdoor industry is extremely protective of its independent bike dealers, IBDs, way more so than the outdoor industry. I mean, it still makes news today if like a Trek or a Specialized, ratchets up its D2C to where it's actually shipping bikes directly to consumers. Like this was a story last year.
Right.
In the outdoor industry, it's like we're a decade past that, crossing that Rubicon. So no, I mean, so that's a big part of it, but part of the reason why the higher end bike industry is so protective of IBDs is because there's an amount of service that's needed to have a successful experience with the bike, right? So you want to get in, you want to get fitted, you don't want to just ship it in a carton and hope that somebody knows how to put it together. It's not a great experience. And then, oh, by the way, there's service and there's tires and all the things. So because of all that, you really actually have to invest a lot to be able to properly sell bikes. And we did this at Moose Show. We had sold bike accessories for a while, but then in 2018, we actually added bike to a number of stores. And to your point, it worked really well. Great customer overlap, et cetera, et cetera. Did a huge bike business out of our Bentonville store, as you might imagine. But to get there, I mean, we were willing to write, very big checks to these bike brands, and they're like, yeah, no, we're really not interested at all in selling to you. And then eventually it said, well, okay, if you open 2 dedicated bike locations, we will sell to you. And then in some cases we could only sell through the location, and some we could also sell online. But yeah, and that even after all that, I think we ended up we had 3 or 4 locations that sold bike. Even then, we had some cool brands. We had like a Rocky Mountain, Pivot, Norco, and some others. But like the big guys, it was like, yeah, no, we're not. Trek, Specialized, no, thank you. Giant, Cannondale, Santa Cruz, we're just
because
not interested.
You're an outdoor store, not a bike shop, basically.
Correct, exactly.
Now, I mean, if you had time, that was 2018, so like kind of getting closer to the end. If you had time to like prove the model a little bit more, right? Get those stores start to show some success and get some reputation as like, oh, this is a good bike location. Do you think that maybe they would have come around, or do you feel like you always would have been fighting that fight?
I think they would have come around in time, especially over the last 2 years. They would have been like, yeah, we'll take whatever. We don't care who the hell you are.
right.
We'll take your money because we have this whole warehouse full of shit that we made in 2023.
Remember when we used to be really principled? We're not that way anymore.
Yeah. No.
All right, for the main topic today, we're talking about D2C, because last week Footwear News covered several outdoor brands who will be opening their own stores in 2026. Those brands are Hoka, who's going to be opening a spot in Brooklyn, because of course they are, but that will go with their other 48 shops. Salomon is expected to be opening 7 to 10 stores. Saucony, they're going to be opening stores in China and in Europe. And also La Sportiva, who put out a press release last week that they will be opening a new shop in Salt Lake City. These announcements got me thinking about the role D2C plays for brands, because it's evolved over the past 15 years, right? Brands going direct was a big part of the 2010s. And when a fair amount of those initiatives failed, it was a win for wholesale. But obviously selling direct continued to grow, as we see with e-commerce and these physical locations opening up. So I suppose, just to start more broadly, Owen, what would you call the current state of D2C as we enter 2026, right? Because it definitely has evolved probably from that peak 2015, 17, 18 range, when then everyone just declared that that didn't work. We're not going to do that anymore. And that's not the case. But like, where are we today, do you think?
Well, if we're talking D2C brick and mortar specifically, it really varies a lot by geography. I mean, in China, it's basically all D2C. Almost, right? You look at Arc'teryx, you look at anybody that's opening in China, they're opening D2C stores. So that's just the way of the way that they shop. Obviously, and part of that is just that they had a much less developed and entrenched retail organization landscape, right? So when these brands wanted to launch in China, they said, well, why, there isn't really somebody to sell into or to buy our stuff, so we're just going to build our own stores. So that's
right.
a bit of a different model. Europe is kind of a little bit in between, and I would say in the United States, it's still very regional. So Boulder, sure. You're going to see lots of D2C stores in Boulder.
Really? Where do you see them? They're so tucked away
They're
and
so
hidden.
tucked away there, all up and down Pearl Street and every other place.
We're talking about Boulder, Minnesota, I believe. Is
right. I see.
Colorado, sorry.
Boulder, but then, Manhattan and Brooklyn, obviously, Salt Lake City, Denver. I mean, there are these hubs, but like you get to other big cities, Midwestern cities, Kansas City, let's say, you're not going to find a whole ton of brand stores in Kansas City. So yeah, it is. It's very regional, I would say.
Look at that shot. First they lose Travis Kelce. I don't know if he's officially retired yet, but he's thinking about it. And now Comerford's taking shots at Kansas City on the rock fight. Poor Casey.
I was thinking of the model, the Mahomes Arc'teryx store or the Mahomes Patagonia store.
Yeah, that
right?
would get some eyeballs. That's actually a pretty good idea.
That's right. I mean, it's got car chains, I'm sure, so might as well.
I mean, you think about it, right? Most brands don't have that many U.S. stores. Like the North Face has, I think, around 100 stores in the U.S. market. Okay, they're probably one of the bigger players. They at least they did have a store in Kansas City in the Plaza. I think it's still there. Columbia has over 50, but even like a Patagonia is under 50 as far as I know. And, Hoka is just about to get close to 50. So like if you look at that 50 store as a metric of whether they're outside of any kind of major markets, there's just not that many really in the grand scheme of things.
So that's on the brick and mortar side. If you then kind of roll in the e-commerce piece of it, who would you say has the momentum right now? Is it D2C? Is it wholesale? I mean, can one really thrive without the other in your opinion?
Colin, I think what you're looking for is the winner is omnichannel, right? That's the soup du jour going on right now. How do I tie these together, right, and then get the best of both of those worlds? I think that's what separates from the beginning of the D2C world 15, 20 years ago was really more of a brick and mortar approach, and now you're seeing how can we bring these two things together.
Yeah, I agree. I would say it slightly differently, which is to say, when D2C was first launched within these brands, it was launched almost as a skunkworks, separate from the wholesale business and really allowed to run rampant by itself, right? And so, but it became very much focused on just its own sales numbers, really in many cases at the, cannibalized from wholesale, or even actually undercutting wholesale by breaking their own MAP policies and doing all that kind of stuff. So that was like the last decade. I think things are changing now, and the brands that are being successful and taking a more strategic view, they look at the macro, right? They say, hey, listen, like our online site, it shouldn't be a place where discounting happens, right? Our online site should be sort of the hub where we build all of this top of the funnel traffic and brand demand. And then if we can serve that through our own online shop, great. But hey, if we refer it to a dealer through like a Locally or whatever, that's fine too. We view that sale as the same as a D2C sale. Or if we send them to our own brick and mortar stores, those are all great. And it's all about working together to raise the brand and raise the total revenue versus silo A versus silo B.
I would say that's one of the top discussions going on amongst marketers for sure, is the balance between the performance marketing aspect, metrics led versus brand. Like, again, where am I driving that customer, and is it okay to drive to different channels? I mean, for sure. I think also too, what you're starting to recognize is the data loop that you're getting, this kind of 360 view of your customer, right? Where online I'm getting kind of the browsing data and the cart behavior, engagement, but then coupled in an in-store where you're getting fit feedback and try on, kind of information.
Yeah, right.
That you put those together and it just creates a much smarter kind of context that you can take to your customers going forward. And I think that's the magic of the two pieces together. But I would also say that this does it does help wholesale at the end. Lifting awareness, especially targeted ways, I do think can help your wholesale business by having that, even a branded store, maybe not across the street, but in terms of the visibility, the ability to create this kind of showroom aspect, controlling kind of MAP compliance, all helps the the specialty retailer at the end of the day.
Well, and it'd probably be a good time to reach back out to our pal Neil Fisk over at Black Diamond or Don Bushy at Wilderness Exchange to see, check in and see how the whole Black Diamond Wilderness Exchange marriage went, because that's an interesting kind of outlier in this conversation. And obviously, when the brands who spurred this conversation, unsurprisingly, are running brands, right? At a time when the one category that is impervious to all the kind of global market forces is running. And it's an interesting mix, though, right? Like La Sportiva, I find fascinating. I assume that means Salt Lake City is because their Boulder store must be going well enough that they want to try another market that's relatively close to home. Saucony, that's interesting, but it's like, oh, they're focusing on China and Europe, to your point, Owen, right? It's like, that's the spot where you want to do it if you can do it right now. And then, Hoka is Hoka. Like, they're going to just, they feel like they can do it. I guess what I just think about, like, it's an interesting why you would decide to do it. And you guys gave a lot of really good reasons about why you potentially would do it, to do this. And what's the risk reward in terms of like how it impacts your wholesale partners, and where does it go? And like, how does that, that boulder roll downhill of is anybody going to get in the way of, are you going to hurt anyone by choosing to open these stores regardless of maybe what your intentions are? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it depends on the level of saturation. So I remember, we had a store in Chicago, up in the Lincoln Park area, and Arc'teryx was one of our top brands. We ended up putting a shop inside our store, and so we were committed to Arc'teryx, and they to us. Then they turn around a year later, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, we're going to open an Arc'teryx store about 2 miles away." We're like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. But their point was, what they see when they open an Arc'teryx store in the market is that there's this sort of, it raises all ships, to kind of today's point, which is it becomes more of a brand in general in the market. They invest in the market themselves. They would overinvest in terms of marketing in that local market than they would in a market where they didn't have a store. So it really does, drive more demand. And so somebody's looking for Arc'teryx, they hear about it, they see the billboards, et cetera. Maybe they go into the Arc'teryx store, maybe they go into the Moose Jaw store, or if they come into the Moose Jaw store, they know who Arc'teryx is and why it's priced the way it is and why they should want it. So I do think if it goes hand in hand with that, where it is this raising all ships approach, again, this macro approach, I think it works. It's when you're reaching more of a saturation approach where now you've got 3, 4, 5 stores in a market. It's just like, okay, now we're not raising all ships. We're actually sinking a few.
Yeah, in that point of view, like if I'm an outdoor enthusiast, I'm going to walk into Moose Jaw, even if there's an Arc'teryx store next door. And if you're just like, hey, I just need a really sweet, expensive raincoat, like, oh, cool, an Arc'teryx store, right? Those are two different customers anyway. And really, at the end of the day, the real impact would be, hey, is Arc'teryx driving some giant discount on their website? Like, that would be what would potentially hurt your wholesale partner, right?
Which they never did. So kudos to them for that.
Good job, Arc'teryx.
Yeah.
They had to save all that money for fireworks. All right. So I guess last thing.
Wow.
It's the gift that keeps giving.
Will that ever
No.
No, I really don't
No,
think
it will not. No, it will not.
Not if we have anything to say about it.
It lives forever on the Googles. Like, let's just go. Yeah.
But I guess just to wrap it up, I mean, what is there a common sense strategy here for a brand? Like, if you're a brand considering this, because again, wide array of brands there, La Sportiva to Hoka to Salomon to Saucony. Like, if you were kind of consulting these guys, Owen, like, what's the strategy you would tell an established brand, or maybe even a new brand who's considering opening some stores on their own?
I think the best advice is to take it pretty slowly on brick and mortar expansion specifically. The retail graveyard is strewn with brands that went too fast on retail expansion before really understanding their model, their prototype, how they make money, what are the dynamics of a market that works for them versus one that doesn't, and all of those things. So yeah, I would take my time, really, really get those store financials in place, and then start with the key markets that have the highest addressable demand for your particular brand, and then move down from there. Don't just assume that we've got to be in New York. Maybe you don't. Maybe that isn't the right market for you. And look at it more as this sort of flagship place where we can invest and raise all ships, etc. as opposed to we need 100 doors, within 3 years, and we're going to, saturate the country with this brand. So I think that would be the first thing. And I think most brands have learned that lesson, at least in the outdoor industry. If you're a new brand, I would say I would definitely start slow, because it's expensive to open a store. I mean, you're looking at. I mean, we had it down to a science, and it was like $300,000, and that was cheap. And when you talk about just it depended, build out fixtures, all that stuff,
including inventory.
No, and then inventory. No. Inventory is another, 500, 600, $800K, right? So
right. But just to actually open the store out of pocket, that's $300K.
At least,
probably light.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say that's light.
That was actually pre Walmart days. I mean, it got up close to $500,000, but net, you're looking at about $1 million to open a store, right? Roughly,
right?
Inventory,
sure.
and build out, maybe a lot more. So, if you're an emerging brand, you're probably better served investing in more top of the funnel brand awareness at a national level than doing that on a market by market, I would say. Now, I think where it can work is if you want to create like a single flagship, maybe in your hometown, like Lives In, for example, they're creating a company store type of approach in Bentonville. So I think that can work, where there's sort of inherent demand and inherent support for the brand, and it becomes a destination for brand zealots to come and see the store, and that's cool. But yeah, if you're an emerging brand investing millions in a store rollout, unless you've got huge private equity backing, I would not recommend.
And if you're especially, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, I think you're spot on with the geographical kind of specific flagship or even outlet supporting that. I mean, it's funny you're talking about kind of that warning. Today's branded retailer is tomorrow's tapas bar. And it's over and over and over. You see these things start up with these grand dreams, right? And boom, it becomes an empty shell. And look, I think this, a single retail is manageable, but once you start, trying to plot beyond that, you become a retail and real estate company. And I don't think people are necessarily ready for that in a smaller to mid-sized business.
You've got to worry about assortment planning, and it's hard to put in place all of the different things you need to have a great retail store, but only supported by one location.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're a specialty retailer and one of these stores open up near you, this is you go, you find some dog poo, you put it in a paper bag, you set it on fire in front of their door, and you run away. That's what you do.
That's right.
That's fixed now.
As long as it's biodegradable.
It's time for the party shot.
It's time for the parting shot. Parting shot this week. I didn't even write it out. I was so inspired this week because I've mentioned the pod a few times. Behind my house was this little mountain that I go out and hike on and run on and stuff like that. And it's not like a destination where if you didn't live nearby, you would come seek this place out. There's like maybe 3 miles of trails on it, right? So you can kind of make it several loops that you can stretch it to 5 kind of thing. But it gets a lot of action from the neighborhoods around it. And as such, it's not the cleanest of trails, right? There's a fair amount of stuff on the trail. Some of that looks like there's a dirt road. Looks like somebody once kind of took a load of trash and put it up there. And it's not filthy, but every once in a while you're like, oh, look, there's some stuff on there. And I often will walk by going, man, I really should come up here with a trash bag on my hikes or my runs and clean up. And then I never think to do it. And the other day, over the holiday break, twice this happened. I was hiking up the trail with my dog, and a woman was coming running the other way. It total, wearing like a Nathan hydration vest. She's like fully trail running, kitted out. 2 full trash bags, 1 in each hand. Wow. Coming down from the summit. Because it's a bare summit. You can see the ocean from up there. A lot of people will go up, they'll drive their trucks up there and camp, and then they leave stuff behind. It's where most of the trash is. And as she's running by the first time, I look at her, I go, thank you for doing the thing that I always say that I'm going to do and have not done yet. And then 3 or 4 days later, I was going up the trail again, and here she comes again, 2 more bags of trash. And I was so inspired by this woman. I'm like, this is now my New Year's resolution. Like once a month, I'm planning on going up there with the trash. Even if I just pick some things up. And I mean, I try to make this a part of my daily life anyway, whether I'm on we'll just walking the dog on the bike path or whatever. If you see a bottle, you pick it up, carry it until I find a trash can, whatever. But just a little, in these crazy times, it's an easy way, guys, to kind of support your local bike paths, your sidewalks, your trails. Pick up the trash. You don't have to do it. This woman is a saint carrying 2 giant bags of trash, like 2 miles down the trail to a trash can at the bottom of the trail. But, we can all pitch in a little bit and keep things a little cleaner. And I was just inspired by what I saw out of my local trails. So I wanted to make that today's parting shot.
That's great. Have you done it yet?
No.
Okay, we're going to check in with you.
I've only been up one more time since then.
We're going to check in with you in early February and see the status.
All right, that's a fair timeline. That's fair because I keep forgetting.
So Colin, here's what you do: is you take 2 trash bags. Okay, you shove them into your favorite trail running shoes, and then you can't forget. They're in there
exactly.
when you go to put them on.
And then now it's like they're lined with Gore-Tex and my feet will sweat as much anyway, so it's fine.
Colin, you forgot my photo essay of doggy bags left on the trail. And I want you to know I'm already ready. I'm ready for round 3. We're going to have the 3rd installment of doggy bags left on trail.
I just do not understand.
Oh, I do.
Okay, it's like you're better off to leave the dog shit there than to put it in a bag and then leave it on the side of the trail. I mean, if you're going to be an asshole, just go all the way, because actually that's the shorter term issue than bags of dog shit on the trail that will just never break down and just sit there.
Remember when you were in I don't know, I did this where you're like, I'm going to do a bad job at something so no one asks me to do it again, but I still feel like I kind of contributed a little bit. That's what this feels like to me. Because I mean, if you're like 2 miles into a hike and there's your dog taking a dump and you have the bag, but you're like, I don't really want to carry this thing around for the rest of my hike. You know what? I'll leave it here and I'll pick it up on the way back. And then by the time you get back,
pick it up on the way back. All of these are, you know what? That's actually what these are way back bags.
They are way back bags.
That's exactly what these are. They're way back bags.
And you're like, sometimes I think people probably genuinely forget them.
I think they believe it.
I think then there's others who just are like, I am never going to touch that thing again.
Right. I think they do believe it, but my photo essays would indicate otherwise, that they remain there. But it did make me think, you've got these bags. Maybe castor beans are the answer here too, right? Like, I think it all comes back to the castor bean. Biodegradable doggy way bags.
I'm sure that exists, right? That's a thing.
Sure. I'm sure.
But Owen, you're absolutely right, because if the point at that point, sometimes if you don't have a bag, I will totally cop to this. And if you own a dog and you hike with it, you're lying if you haven't done this. If you tell me you haven't done this, the dog takes a shit, you don't have a bag. Well, you find the stick and you flick it off the trail. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? That at least no one's going to know at that point. You're already, and it's just as damaging probably as leaving the bag there. Maybe less damaging. I don't know. But like, whatever.
That's right.
Don't even bag it up if you're not going to carry it out. I don't get that. No. That's the show. Send your emails in. Tell Dave to talk more about castor beans. Apparently, it's on his mind. We want to send it to myrockfight@gmail.com. The Rock Fight's a production of Rock Fight LLC. Today's episode was produced by producer Castor Bean Dave and art direction provided by Sarah Gensert. For Owen Comerford, I'm Colin True. Thank you for listening. And here to take us out is Krista Makes with the Rock Fight song. We'll see you next time, Rock Fighters.
Boom.
Rock Fight.